So, are you struggling to make your drops?
Are you banging your head against your keyboard just trying to come up with a good drop idea?
Stay tuned for this video to learn our top 10 cheat codes to writing a drop.
We got you.
This song's the fucking gas.
Do you struggle to get it up?
What's up, everybody? My name is Parker Ament.
My name's Danny Ferrari.
And we are Excellent Sound. Today, we got a very special video for you.
Different type of video. This is a new one for us.
It's a new one. It's a little bit different, but it's super sick.
Yeah, super important.
Today, we're going to be going over the top 10 cheat codes to make your drops.
It's going to help you guys out a lot. It helps us out. We know the struggle. The struggle is real when it comes to writing a drop. We've put together this list to help you guys be able to write better drops, quicker, faster, smarter, stronger, bigger wieners.
It's essentially going to be your Bible,
Yeah,
all right? The
exactly.
Excellent Bible,
Excellent
drop Bible, dude.
Awesome, yeah.
Excellent trap Bible?
I don't know, fuck it.
Kind of sick. Before we get into it, if you guys like this video, go ahead and drop a like, drop a saturated sub on there,
drop it.
and drop a comment of your favorite cheat code in this video. And if you have a cheat code of yourselves,
Yeah.
tell us.
We got a nice giveaway for the people that comment and like the video too, so we'll tell you guys that a little bit later.
Put your Atari cheat code in,
Yeah.
up, down, left, right,
Select
A,
start,
B,
7.
select your mother.
Yeah.
But yes, without further ado, here is number 1. So, number 1 cheat code. Before you start anything on your computer, you need snacks. We got Snickers, we got Three Musketeers, we got Tostitos. Chips, dude.
Salsa.
Salsa, dude. And what's your favorite? You got your,
Animal cracks.
Yep, animal cracks, and some,
Pirates booty.
some Cheggs Pops,
We
dude.
love pirate booty.
And you can't forget the
Brewskis.
Stella Brews, dude.
Reese's peanut butter cups. Somebody already got into this one. I don't know who.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I have my fingerboard. Sometimes I'll play with that just to help you kind of get out of the zone and back in and kind of think. It's always important to have all this stuff ready so that you don't have to stop for any reason at all.
You're forgetting one thing, dude. I mean,
Oh.
what about those nugs, dude?
Yeah, what about the nugs and nods? We got tons of nugs and nods.
We got those nugs for you, but we
They're
can't be
here.
showing them yet.
Can't show you the nugs. We're gonna be
secrets.
giving you guys the nugs.
Yeah.
But maybe you got your nugs ready. I don't know.
So after you have all of your snacks, make sure you turn your phones off, turn them on silent so you're not distracted. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend getting all in your business, you know, trying to take you away from the subs, trying to take you away from the bass
Loves.
and all the actions.
Let's be honest, bro. We
You
don't
know?
turn off our fucking cell
No, we
phones. We do ignore our phones as much as we can,
Yes.
for sure. So, yeah, if you can turn it off, that's great.
All right, cheat code number 2.
Dose.
Creating a vibe. First thing you gotta do is get these sexy lights on.
Set the tone.
Gotta get the mood right, dude. You gotta get your Tostitos like right here.
Maybe you produce butt naked in your bedroom.
You wanna create the aesthetic of what you're doing, you know?
Yep.
If you're doing like tropical house vibes, dude,
Ooh.
you know, get some plants in your life, dude.
Absolutely.
Get your bathing suit on, get
Perfect.
a towel over here, maybe get a little jacuzzi.
A little jacuzzi, a little
little
tiny little
jacuzzi.
jacuzzi.
You know what I'm saying? Just get your aesthetic right. Something else that's really important is when you're collabing, you want to have a theme.
Yeah,
So after
definitely.
you get your aesthetic down, talk with your collaborators, get the goal in
Or
mind.
yourself, if you're collabing with yourself.
Or talk to yourself. But have a common goal in mind when you're writing so you are working towards something and you're not kind of getting lost on the way.
For example, one of the things that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be making this song. Our idea of a theme was we wanna do like something kind of dark and epic, but with a hybrid trap sort of drop too. So we wanna go
Yeah.
from that into hybrid trap. So that's like an idea of a theme. And what a lot of times Parker and I, what we'll do is we'll listen to music before we even start. We'll listen to like maybe like 20 minutes of just like kind of quickly listening through different
Stuff
songs.
that inspires us.
Yeah, that gets us excited. You're kind of getting pumped up, you know what I mean? This is your pre-workout where you get all fucking crazy.
Yeah, the fighters, before they get into a fight, they're sparring, right?
Yeah, we're
Beforehand,
sparring.
they're getting their blood flowing. Like,
Right.
you can't just jump in a ring and start fighting somebody if you didn't do any warm-up. So this is the warm-up.
And then what's a good idea too sometimes is using acapellas, right?
Yeah, so acapellas are super, super helpful for when you're writing drops, when you're writing tracks, just in general. It's very inspirational, and it's like you're having a vocalist in the studio.
Yeah.
A couple really, really cool ways that we can get acapellas is acapellas4u.com. Great, great resource. It has a lot of hop acapellas on here.
Hip hop.
Billboard Top 100, you know, kind of stuff. Some of them are hit or miss, you know, some of them are kind of terrible, but a lot of them are very, very high quality. The second resource that we actually found is called La La Lee La Lee. La La Lee. We found this on TikTok, and it is actually really insane. Essentially, you just select the file you want from your computer, and it extracts the acapella for you.
And the instrumental, and it does a damn good job too. The algorithm is insane.
It's out of control. So we were super stoked on this. We couldn't wait to tell you guys about it. So if you didn't know about this, go check it out. It's free for like 10 seconds or something, and then if you pay for it, I think it's like $2. So once you have your acapella, you could throw it into your session and get the juices flowing.
That we're not even planning on. It could be to a completely different song.
Yeah.
And we'll just start writing to it just to get ideas, and then that acapella's gone. Cheat code number 3 is having reference tracks, okay? Reference tracks are so important. I cannot tell you how many people, as far as that have gotten lessons with us, that I've opened up their projects and they don't even have a reference. It's good for mixing and mastering, but more importantly for writing, okay? You don't know how powerful a reference track can be. Just using the common structure is really, really helpful for a reference track to give you ideas. It's definitely good to write down all the elements that you hear in the drop, for instance, if somebody else is. So what we did is we got 3 references here, and we went ahead and wrote down some ideas that we wanted to do and some stuff that we were hearing in there. So for instance, we said that we want to do a bass house with a hybrid trap drop. We want to have some like trancey synths. We were hearing some really cool trancey synths. A vocal acapella, like we mentioned, maybe some type of hip hop vocal acapella.
Yeah.
Break kick patterns. We're really digging those like 4 on the floor, but the boom, da boom, 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 da boom, boom, boom. That sort of vibe. Maybe going from 4 on the floor to that.
Yeah.
Rap vocal chops. Rave synths, definitely. We got some cool ideas for some crazy rave synths, which we're going to work on. So those are just some points that we do. I definitely recommend writing down ideas or just things that you hear in references. Just start listing them out, and it will help you to have a starting point to where to go to. Cheat code number 4 is workflow, 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 okay? Workflow.
This is a big one.
Yeah, it's really important. Set up your sound design sessions and your writing sessions as separately as you can, okay? Now, a lot of times we do sound design in our drop sessions, but what can happen is you can get stuck on a sound for hours, and then by the time you're finally getting somewhere, you completely forgot about your song, and the whole motivation and vibe is completely gone. Maybe if we're having a little bit of writer's block or we're having a tough time, then maybe we'll just stop and we'll go into sound design into a different session for like an hour and maybe come back to it, or a different day sometimes. Even days we'll spend sound design.
Yeah, and it's also super important to keep these two things separate because expectation, number 1, and the feeling of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
You know, if you go in and you want to write a song or write a drop and then it doesn't happen, you feel kind of bad.
Yeah.
You don't feel the best. But if you go in saying like, I don't care about the song, I don't really care, I just want to be creative, I want to make some cool sounds.
Right.
Like you're going to feel great coming out of that,
Yeah.
you know, if that's the goal.
It's almost like not having any restraints on you. When
Yeah,
you're in that,
dude.
you know?
You just
No
want
pressure.
to. Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not good at sound designing, that's okay. What you can do is go through some of your preset packs, some of your excellent packs, and pick out some of your favorite samples that you think sound really, really cool. Maybe make like a quick little sample pack of different presets and sounds that you like, so that when you go to your drop, right, you already have a place to start. You might even bring them into your template, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
bring in a bunch of different patches and stuff. And try to mess with presets. Give yourself that sort of freedom to not have to worry about any of that shit. And the workflow is all about our next step, which is
organization. Number 5 cheat code. Ooh. So what we want to do is in Ableton, we want to have everything super, super organized so we're not trying to find sounds. We're not having to go into crazy folders to get our inspiration and get the sounds that we need. So if you look to the left in our Ableton sidebar, we have our Excellent Sound folder right over here with our entire Excellent Sound collection right here.
You can have it too.
Yep, you can have it too. We also have the Cartel 3, the Storm project file over here. So there's some couple cool ideas that we have in here that we can actually pull in. Another really, really cool tip about Ableton.
And it helps you kind of develop your sound a little bit. If you bring in your old project files, you might have some really good drums that you like, and that kind of can help you develop that sound too.
Exactly. When you have your signature synth, you don't have to like remake it every time. You can just pull it in. So something that's really cool. And then the last thing that we did over here is we have have our brand new Excellent Cartel Vol.III pack. Woo! It's all right there. We don't have to go into crazy folders. We don't have to go out of control. And we got some Danny racks, and then we got our hard drive over here.
Yeah.
Very, very important to stay organized and really good for your workflow.
Yeah, and I think too, with having a template set up just in Ableton, like we do, a simple sort of template, this kind of goes back into workflow, but even having like a side chain, or like you see, we have different groups sort of set up. Sometimes we don't stay in those groups. We're not trying to sit there and spend hours organizing and stuff, but it is good to have a little bit of organization in the very beginning so it doesn't slow you down. Know what I'm saying?
And when you start producing a lot, you start noticing that you're doing the same things over and over and over again. And once you realize what you're doing over and over again, like pulling Serum into a MIDI track, you start finding out, oh, I could save some time by making like the default MIDI track have Serum on it already. So you start finding like little things like that that really helps your workflow. Cheat code number 6. Having a solid build.
Gotta have a solid build.
This is probably one of the most important cheat codes.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't even realize this when I first started producing, but having a solid build will set your drop off. Like,
big time.
For sure. If you have a shitty drop, but you have a dope-ass build,
yeah,
it makes your shitty drop sound better.
Getting the hype big enough to help you get into the drop. I can't tell you how many times me and Parker have started drops with having a good build that made us feel so hyped that when we hit that first note of the drop and we're jamming on it, it's like, oh, right, this is it, right? Which is not just having it and starting on the 1. It can really, really be difficult that way.
Cheat code number 7, building your foundation. And what I usually start with, and what Danny usually starts with, is a solid drum loop.
Absolutely.
Now, you can always take a loop and you could throw it in and kind of jam off of that, but we really like starting from scratch. So I usually start with the snare. Once I have a cool snare part, I add the kicks, and then I add some hi-hats. And then I'm starting to plan out the space for the drop. If I'm gonna have a fake out, I start thinking about that. If I'm gonna do a double drop, I'm starting to think about that. When I'm doing the drums, it really helps me set myself up for success.
Absolutely. I definitely think adding stuff like reverse cymbals into certain things, adding little moments of tension and release, and of course the fills that we kind of mapped out earlier in the session, where stuff should go, is gonna help you just kind of get the flow of the drop. Let's talk about jamming, dude.
Cheat code number 8.
Let's do it, okay? A big thing about writing drops and getting that sort of feel and that vibe is you gotta play. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be able to hit some keys, you gotta be able to touch some stuff.
You can't stay just on the computer drawing shit in all the time.
I mean, it's cool to do that. We do that all the time, but a lot of times, like, we jam with Ableton itself. Sometimes we'll even jam with samples, like in the sample preview. We'll hit the right arrow to preview it over and over again to hear how a sound or a one-shot might sound in the drop. It's really important, too, sometimes for those of you that are really skilled hand drummers. Maybe you're really good with your fingers.
Finger drummers.
Finger banger drummers.
Finger bangers.
If you're good at finger banging, you definitely want to play the drums on pads or something like that, just to get a vibe. Sometimes you can get a different vibe or a different swing. A lot of times that type of stuff gives you the ability to make a more humanistic, realistic feel.
And you guys don't even need a fancy controller for this.
No.
You could use an Ableton push, you could use a keyboard, do any of that, or you can literally use your computer
all
keyboard.
the time.
You know what I'm saying? Shortcut is M, turn the keyboard mode on and off, and you just jam it out.
Yeah.
And like Danny was saying, like, we speed run through sounds until something catches our brain. It's kind of like the same process of like choosing samples, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
You know, as far as presets go. If you're making something, you're also still jamming while you're sound designing as well, too. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge, huge part, and that really, really inspires the drop.
Yeah, definitely. You don't even have to have any musical skill, I think, as long as like you're hitting something in some type of rhythmic fashion. Turn the lights out, get completely naked, light a candle, and fucking push some buttons, you know, see what happens.
Musicianship is not dead, you guys. Let's keep it alive. Last point on jamming is, in Ableton, there's actually a MIDI capture mode. Right over here, when you look at this arrow, it actually captures the last thing that you played. It captures the MIDI, it captures the tempo, and it goes back till, I think, 30 seconds.
That's crazy.
If you're jamming and you like totally forgot what you just did, hit that arrow and you'll capture your MIDI. Excellent cheat code number 9, breaking the pattern. Now, once you have a really good sound going, you're getting a vibe, you have a really cool drop idea down, how are you going to expand it? 8 bars, 4 bars. How are you going to make
16.
an entire 16? How are you going to make that?
What we do is we'll write little parts, just like little motifs, little ideas at first. We try to always start with usually a call and a response. We don't always end up using it, but if we write multiple parts in a drop, we have different ideas that we can kind of try to put together and see kind of like putting together a puzzle. You know what I mean? But in a smaller sort of loop setting, you don't want to get stuck in that loop. You definitely want to make sure that you have some type of variation. If you're going to use the same sound, you want to make sure that you're altering that sound throughout the drop. Maybe it changes a little bit, the preset itself. Maybe you're adding a little bit more FM on the B part. And then sometimes adding even a whole new part, like an A to B to A to C. You know what I mean? Like something like that as far as your phrasing. Keeping that interesting, but also keeping a pattern. That's another thing, is that I think that people, they make a bunch of different ideas, which is cool, but there has to be a pattern with the rhythmically or the parts in general. You know what I'm saying?
The listener needs to have something in common with what they're hearing, and they also need to be surprised.
Absolutely.
So that's why A, B, A, C, you're surprised on the C. You know what's going to happen after A, B is going to happen, but then you think A, B is going to happen again, but then you get tricked with C.
Right.
So you create that surprise. And that's really big on pop music too, like lullabies and stuff like that. The phrasing is very, it's catchy, and then there's a surprise.
Absolutely.
And then it goes back to being catchy. So if you think of your drops like that, there's all these different patterns. The worst pattern really is A, B, C, D.
Just A.
There's no repeats.
Absolutely.
Or just A.
Yeah.
If it's A the whole time, you lost the listener.
Right.
If you do A, B, C, D, you lost the listener because there's too many things going on. You know what I'm saying?
But even in older songs, like in older big room songs, like even Avicii, that just plays the whole time. But there's other things that are changing throughout the song, whether it be with the drums or with the melody, with the sound, or maybe another layer comes in, or you're using dynamics to keep an A interesting the entire time. So you can do it the entire time, but you have to phrase other things at that point.
Yeah,
I think that's
you can
important.
change the drums, you can add some hi-hats, you can take the
Right.
sub out, you can do a completely different sound.
Yep.
There's so many different ways, but if you keep phrasing in mind, you're on your way to success.
Absolutely. And our last and final cheat code, number 10 on our list, is don't get lost in the sauce.
Don't get lost.
We all have been there where we get stuck in an 8-bar loop and we're just stuck in it for hours and we're like, this is so sick. And then you play it, the transition coming into it, and you're like, what the fuck did I just do? Next thing you know, you're banging your fucking head against the wall like this, right? One tip that we do is if we're spending too much time on something, you might want to set a timer, but we have each other. Like Parker's spending too much time on something and it's just not coming, I'll remind him, like, yo, bro, let's move on. We'll go to the next part. We'll come back to it, That's really, really important.
You don't want to dwell.
Absolutely. Taking breaks for sure. Sometimes you need to get up and walk around. Sometimes you need to do a fucking kickflip. Fuck.
Some other problems that we encounter too is you have too many sounds.
Yeah.
You have too many plugins, way too many synths, You look over here, you're getting all crazy. You're like, what do? I have too many options. Like, this is a sick idea, but this is a sick idea. You don't know what to choose. A really cool way to get around that too is putting a creative block on yourself. So instead of having all of the options of these synths and sample packs, you say, oh, I'm only gonna use Serum, and oh, I'm only gonna use Cartel Vol.III, and not use any other sample pack. Little shameless plug right there, you know what I'm saying? And then you're not gonna use any other synth, and then that makes your brain chill out a little bit. Like, it forces you to make something really cool within these boundaries.
It's okay to put yourself in a box sometimes. Sometimes when you're stuck in sort of this rut or this writer's block or this loop, sometimes putting parameters on yourself can actually help you get out of that because it forces you to be creative, like what you were saying.
Yeah, man.
If you're getting stuck in these loops, don't forget the very, very famous quote by Pablo Cabasio.
Pablo Cabasio.
Okay? And that is, good artists copy, great artists steal. And
Yep.
what he means by that is that everyone is influenced by somebody, right? We're not saying go on there and steal somebody's song. But if you're having a hard time in a loop, maybe just take somebody's song and just sort of remake it into your song.
Yeah.
And then you can take out some elements and start creating your own. That's okay to do. You can come up with great ideas that way. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's only a certain amount of notes on the piano.
Right.
You know, there's only a certain amount of chords, and there's only a certain amount of drum grooves that you can make.
Right.
And combinations. Don't get caught up in that stuff.
Yeah, and I think another final note I want to add to that too is don't forget that sometimes we get stuck in these things and we think that this is the most important track that's going to make or break us in our career, right? And the reality is most of the time that's not true. Sometimes you're better off just finishing something and just being okay, like, you know what, I'm calling this done and moving on to the next thing, because it's all about quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Quantity over quality. And the reason I mean that is because the more drops and songs that you finish, the better that they're going to be. If you're sitting here stuck on a song for a year or two, right, you're better off just calling it done and moving on to something new.
Yeah, because if you're doing that, nobody's listening to your music.
Yeah.
Listen to Skrillex's old stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he thought that was like the best thing ever, and he puts it out. Us hearing it now, it's like, oh man, that's muddy, or like the kick
Right.
sounds weird, the snare, but it's not. You know,
Right.
he said that was done.
Right.
He put it out, people thought what they thought about it, and then he moved on.
Art is never finished, it's only abandoned. That is a big
Yeah, man.
thing to live by. And I noticed for us too, like we have songs that we've put out that I've been like, oh man, like I didn't really meet my full expectations of what I wanted to, but I'm like happy with it. I'm like, it's good. And that's okay, because sometimes you gotta put shit out. You gotta get yourself out there. And that's really important to remember that. It's okay. Like your shit's not gonna suck. Unless it sucks. If it does suck, then don't put it out. Right,
Yeah.
but at least finish it and move on to something else.
Exactly. Thank you guys for watching. These are our 10 cheat codes for writing drops. We follow them like a Bible. Hopefully you guys too. If you guys like what you see, drop a comment. Tell us what your favorite cheat code was. If you guys have your own cheat code that's, you know, that you can add to the Bible, let us know down below. We'll see you guys next week.
And also, speaking of cheat codes, for those of you guys that like the video and comment down below, you will be automatically entered in to win. Because this is a special video, we're going to go ahead and give away Drops Only Volume
we're doing it.
1 and Volume 2.
Oh,
and
shit.
Cartel Vol.III. You guys can get all of those packs just by liking the video and commenting down below. You can comment as many times as you want. The more comments you have, the better odds you have to win, because we're going to do a random comment picker, and that person will win Drops Only 1 and 2 and Cartel 3. That's a huge prize that we're doing. So yeah, please like the video,
You
comment.
didn't tell me we were doing this,
Yeah,
dude.
I did tell you.
This is over $200 of...
It's a lot of money. I apologize.
And we're
Parker
just
always
giving-
gets mad. I
we're
just
giving-
give shit away. I don't tell him shit. So yeah, comment down below, like the video, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. We're out.